I have my support group right here in the second row, and one over there. On August 14, 1967, a day before India's Independence Day, my mom, my two siblings, and I boarded a plane to come to the US to join my dad, who was here not here in Maryland, but in North Carolina, attending University of North Carolina, UNC, studying his PhD. So we were really excited that we were going to be seeing him. As the plane was taking off into the air, I was looking through the window, seeing if I could see something, but flights are very late at night in those countries coming here. All I saw was a map of India lit up with the lights, but I didn't know if it was on top of the building or it was just my imagination. Mumbai grew smaller and smaller till it disappeared. And then it struck me. I was so excited that we were going to be seeing my dad. But at the same time, I was thinking of this world that we were going into that was unknown to us, called America. Everything that I knew since I was born was being left behind. My grandparents, my aunts and uncles, my cousins, and all my friends. Don't get me wrong, I was excited to come to America because my mom promised me that I could wear mini skirts, and I was looking forward to that. So, along with that excitement came some nervousness and fear of this country, of what to expect. When we landed and we were disembarking the plane, I could feel the heat of the August weather. I was a little disappointed because there was no snow on the ground. I thought it was always cold in America. From the airport, we went to Chapel Hill, where my dad lived, and attending UNC. Every a foreign graduate student was given a host family, and ours was a widow named Mrs. Clifford. We were so excited when she was coming to visit us. She looked like someone I had seen in an American magazine. She had pearl necklace, knee-length dress, black high-heel shoes, and she had short white hair that she looked like she just came from the salon. But she knew about India, she knew about her culture. Now you have to remember, this was in the 60s. I was the only Indian kid in my junior high school. My sister was the only Indian kid in high school, and my brother was the only Indian kid in elementary school. But she welcomed us, and we just loved her. She would come visit us. She would talk to us kids to find out how school was going. And she knew that we didn't have a lot of money, only because, you see, my dad came on a student visa, so he could only work limited number of hours. My mother was his dependent, and she was an educator in India, but she couldn't work here because she was his dependent. So life was a little difficult for us. But she was the shining light. She would bring us a little something, like maybe a headband or a clip that had like fake diamonds on it. That meant so much to us because she cared about us. And we loved being around her. Well, because she knew our needs and she knew winter was coming, she realized that we all, my mother, my sister, my brother, and I would need winter coats. She used to take my mom sometimes to this group of women's community, they would have breakfast or something like that. They collected money for my mom and gave a check of $150, $100 or $150. My mother was so embarrassed. She knew we could really use that money, but at the same time, she was so embarrassed to accept it because you see, in India, we were on the giving side. Here, we were on the receiving side, and that was so shameful to her. At that time, $150 was a lot of money because remember, a gallon of gas was 25 cents. Yeah, I bet a lot of us wish it was the case now, right? Well, she remained in our lives for the first 5 years, and then we moved to Maryland. I attended high school, went to college, finished my degree, and joined the World Bank. I worked there for 35 years, and I decided it was time to retire. Now, my husband wasn't retiring, but I was. I was so looking forward to not make the long commute of 1 hour every day, no meetings, attending meetings, no deadlines. But a couple of weeks after I retired, I was bored, cooking and cleaning, because my husband didn't retire, I did. So I was talking to a friend, and she told me about her daughter-in-law helping the Syrian refugees that were coming here, either picking them up from the airport or setting up their apartments. So I thought, that sounds really interesting. I think I'll do that. So there I was, a few weeks later, showing up at the apartment, which was being set up by this group. I had no clue what I was getting into. I came into the apartment. All I saw were piles of furniture, mattresses, sheets. It kind of overwhelmed me. So I thought, I see so many volunteers. They all seem to be knowing what they're doing. I don't know where to begin. So the first thing I did is decided to go to the bathroom to set up, not use it, but to set up a shelf above the tank of the toilet, where you can put towels and things like that. I felt comfortable. I had never put anything together in my life. And there were no instructions. So I picked up the things. I tried to put it the best I could. I spent 1 hour, and then people who would pass by, they're like, "Oh, you're doing such a great job. I know this is hard, but the first time is a hard time." I realized I had built that shelf upside down. I was like, oh no, okay, so I took it apart, and then it took me another hour to put it the right way. When I came out of the bathroom, I couldn't believe my eyes. The apartment looked so beautiful, that piles that I saw when I came in, the couch was against the wall, the wall art was hung on the walls, the carpet was there, the side tables, the lamps. It looked so welcoming. Remember, the families that were coming here were living in a refugee camp, not a proper bed to sleep in. And such a welcoming sight would be for them when they came to this apartment, saw a beautiful apartment made just for them. They would be sleeping in a warm bed and having everything they needed to call it home. Then I decided, this is where my passion is. I loved it. I was so excited. I went home happy. I came back again and again, many times, and I started making friends with these little kids that we had set up homes for before, and I would talk to them, and their English got better as they attended school, and I could converse with them. I met their mothers, and you know, I started taking little toys for them, and anytime there was an apartment I was setting up, I would make sure I would stop by and visit with them and see how they were doing. If they needed anything, I would get little bows for their hair because they also had limited income. Anything else besides rent and food was a luxury. The mothers would show me sometimes the pan that was burnt, so I would try to buy something, or if someone donated, I would give it to them. Then it occurred to me, I was their Mrs. Clifford. Yes. And then I thought, wow, I don't think Mrs. Clifford had any clue how welcome she made us feel. And the love and kindness and care she showed towards us. But one thing I do know is that she would have been very happy to see that a little Indian girl is passing on